You said at the beginning of our discussion was that every marriage is different. I don't think this is something Will can handle. I don't think that a part of me wonders if he's doing this to appease his wife.
Hey guys, welcome to Woke and Pretty. It's your girl Meera here with Min today, who is having a really tough time with her voice, so you might hear a lot of me. Lucky you. I want to get right into it, and I want to talk about Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith and their relationship, because she actually came out saying during the famous or infamous Oscar slap, they were separated for 6 years. And so Min and I started talking about what that separation means, because people do a separation for a year. I know it's legal there for a year before you get divorced in Canada. In the US, people don't even do that. They just peace out and like divorce. But obviously the separation period is to work on your relationship and analyze it. And obviously for different folks, it's different strokes. You could maybe live in the same house, different room, maybe different. One person moves out and if you like it or not. And then depending on the situation, you move back in or you sow some oats and see if there's somebody else for you. I don't know. Everyone has a different take on it. And so I thought it was interesting because as much as we're talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and the Lil Key birthday and all the things that they do, basically we as a society care about, I think it's important to talk about this because she has had a lot of controversy about both of them, actually, about the type of relationship they have, the people that they have in their relationship together, which I would say maybe is progressive compared to what we accept now, because now it's like known, like the polyamorous relationships, like we're a throuple, we're this, and we have all these terms and everyone's like low key okay with it if they're involved, but like most people don't understand once it doesn't apply to them, they don't care. Generally, it's not that big a deal compared to a homosexual relationship for most people, right? But that's another story. But in this particular instance, she revealed that they were separated for 6 years before that Oscar slap happened. And why that's important, and Min was saying this, it explains a lot because there's a lot of pent-up feelings and emotions that was directed toward his wife that he felt protective over, but they're separated, whatever that means or look like. They live in a compound, right? Their place is probably huge. Yeah. Their kids are older. But I feel a certain way. One, low key, I don't need to know this. I don't care. I just feel like you do you, but it's really hard to be a celebrity. Not that I would know, but it seems like it would be really hard to be a celebrity and have that perception of we're still married the way we are, but yet on the inside, do all the things that you need to know or do for yourself to be in a healthy mental space. So I don't know if she was living there with him the whole time. Maybe she was, because they're like, oh, it's easier for the kids, but also easier, well, their kids are older, but easier for us and people to not have drama about our relationship and create even more of a rift. But them being separated, I think makes a lot of sense, but it of course doesn't excuse violent behavior. He walked up to that state. I was watching it live, guys, with my in-laws. They were here, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. And I was like, wait, did that happen? Rewind that. And I was like, that's part of the skit, right? And then we didn't realize it was becoming this whole thing. We continued to watch it because we're like, oh, wow. And then we moved on. But he got up there and went up to Chris and said something, slapped him, continued to say something. And then it was awkward for everybody. Yeah. Kudos on Chris Rock for not reacting and not making that a big a deal. But he also was hosting the damn show. So that's his money.
There's also a lot of controversy around Chris Rock and how there's a community that just doesn't like Chris Rock in the sense that he has played into quote unquote the white game rather than
with his new wife,
rather than supporting the Black people in that sense.
I know his wife or girlfriend or whoever she is white, but besides that, I don't really know much about it.
I can't really talk too much about it. I don't know enough about it, but I do know that like the Black community isn't happy completely with Chris Rock in the sense that he is able to host the Oscars, for instance, because he is very chummy with a lot of white executives and is able to rise in the ranks further than his other Black male counterparts. But
see, I have a problem with that. I understand how that looks on the outside, but when you're a young kid looking up at this event and you're seeing him there, it's possible. However he got there. That I think it's really weird when people have to judge your actions and say you conformed to that side and you're getting opportunities because you're being the ass kisser or whatever. But at the same time, don't tell me you don't have to do that in the Black community. Don't tell me that it doesn't happen in the white community to each other. This is part of human nature.
No,
but
and
I
get
understand
it.
they're saying he's a sellout, but I also say there's people out there who just don't want other people to be more successful than they are, and they're just hating in their pedestal that they're creating for themselves.
No, absolutely. But then there also became, like, when that controversy came out about the slap, is he was like, a lot of Black women came for Chris Rock, being like, you've always made fun of Black women, and this was just another thing to add to your list, because alopecia runs thick in the Black female community, and it's a lot of it is from a girl who suffered from it. It's very stress induced. Like, I have a big patch of it right here that you guys can't obviously see, and I managed to cover it up. But when you're under a lot of stress and pressure, it gets really, for me especially, it gets really bad, and a lot of it is stress induced. So I think this was another thing to add to the list of things that they didn't feel like Chris Rock should have been making fun of Jada Pinkett Smith for, especially when it's an autoimmune disease and it's probably stress induced. But going back to going back to Jada and Will, this for me raised a lot of questions. So you've been separated for 6 years. What Jada is saying is true, and really we have to take it to heart. That slap explains a little bit more as to where Will's head was at. And it was really hard to watch the aftermath, because people came for his Oscar. And in The King, what movie did he win it for? He won it for the Serena Williams movie.
I did not like that they did that. I feel like they should have not given him that at the end. Like, they should have made a call, because it was like rewarding bad behavior. And instead of, obviously it happened that night, but instead of him taking that opportunity to apologize, he defended his action. And I thought that was very egotistical. Obviously we didn't know that was going to happen. It was like an hour later than when the incident happened. So they probably didn't know what to do. But for a live show, somebody needed to make that call. And to be quite honest, I'm just going out here, he should have been removed. I like Will Smith a lot. I understand that people make mistakes, and I think it was a mistake. But he should have been removed. If it was anyone else that caused a ruckus within that live show, they would have been removed. But because it was Will Smith, and because they knew he was going to get that last award, the biggest award.
I know.
No, I really think they should have removed him and given him the award, but he should not have been able to accept it. There was no repercussions for his actions until after they had to meet about it. And I just think that the person in charge, the producer on that particular event, should have made that call. Honestly, I get it. There's politics, but...
Or maybe the producer can't make that call. Maybe the committee needs to make that call.
Yeah.
Maybe the producer is only the front guy. But it was very sad. I don't know if you watched the Red Table Talk.
I don't really watch it. I see clips from it, but she addressed it, right? Or they addressed it?
They addressed it. They sat down together. It was the two of them, and they addressed how she had how Jada had an entanglement. Exact words, entanglement.
With?
I don't remember his name.
Somebody.
August something.
Okay, but what does that have to do with Chris Rock?
It doesn't. But if you saw the look on Will's face during that interview with Jada at the Red Table, you would have been a little heartbroken for Will.
Why? He did not know she had an entanglement?
No, he knew. He knew.
But did he not know she was going to bring it up?
No, he brought it up.
Oh, I guess I should watch it.
But he looked heartbroken. Like, it was, like, I don't know of a single person who would have been like, I think we felt a little pity for him. And then it made us question, you said it at the beginning of our discussion, was that every marriage is different. I don't think this is something Will can handle. I think a part of me wonders if he's doing this to appease his wife. I think he wants to try to make it work.
Listen, but every divorce, every relationship, there's always, it's usually never mutual that we want to leave each other. Usually there's one person that has to get on board with another person's decision, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, because if you don't get on board and you fight for it and the other person's not there with you or willing to figure it out, basically you're the one that's getting heartbroken because they're going to move on with their life regardless. Yeah. And you don't want to move on. So I'm just I've seen a lot of relationships. Most of my family, they're bad relationships and divorce and stuff. And I've seen sides, but I've never been in it to that degree. Of course, we talk about this, thankfully, but it's just so common that there's always going to be a hurt party in any broken relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
But the fact that he's letting her have her freedom, but they're still together and they're still companions. They're still going to be together forever. I guess that's the goal. You got to live your life and do it in whatever fulfills maybe your relationship. So for her, maybe it is having those micro relationships outside, but ultimately supporting her person that she chose, which is him.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's interesting here is that she's so open about it, especially on her table talk and all the other avenues. Obviously, they must have discussions about how open they can be about things, but she's living her truth. And you could judge her for it all you want. You can judge him for it and say he's a sucker or whatever. I personally think the whole Chris Rock thing, I know it was like 100 years ago, but I think there was more to it. I think he made that comment in jest, but I think there had to have been a history between the three of them somehow.
Oh,
Like they
so you're not
obviously
the
knew
only
each
one
other.
who has that theory.
She
I'm with you.
obviously, there's no way if somebody, okay, when I was dating my husband, one of my best friends was dating this girl who we went to school with, who I didn't know. She was younger. So at the time in high school. So he brought her on a trip with us. I met her once and I was like, she was so nasty until she realized who I was. And then she was like the nicest person. And I was like, I could tell a lot about you already. Like, I was there with my boyfriend at the time, which is my husband. And she still was like such a jerk. Like, why are you in our space type of thing? And then when she realized who I was, then it was like open arms. And I was like, first of all, ew.
Yeah.
Second of all, I would play this game with you, except for I'm here with someone and I don't need to be here. So he invited her to this trip that we have. We used to do this annual trip. We drive to his place, rent a house. We have a great weekend. Like, it's awesome. And he decided he was in charge of the house this year, which I was like, fine, because I'm always the one doing all the work. Brought her. It was terrible from the start. Terrible from the start. I won't even go into all the instances with everybody in the house and the almost combative moments. I was the only one that was neutral. Like the entire time going on this trip, and my husband didn't come at the time. He was my boyfriend at the time. He didn't come on this trip. I had to listen to my friend complain about her, and she and I were the only ones that met her. And I had to listen to her about her the entire trip up there. So I was like, I'm just going to try to keep the peace and try to like stay out of everything. It was like the day before we left, and we're at this beach. And I'm sitting at a picnic table and I'm talking to her, or I was like standing across the table and she's talking. And she literally, and she's next to a friend of mine from high school. So we're all high school friends. She says to me, I think your boyfriend is a P. Full stop. Meanwhile, she met him one time at a club for 5 minutes. But I was talking about his eating habits. Like, he was gluten-free at the time because he was trying to see if he had celiac or whatever. So I was talking to my friend and she happened to be there because we were talking about some of the food that was on the table. And I think I was eating like a cracker or something. And she was talking about her eating habit. I don't know, whatever. And then I was like, yeah, like my husband or my boyfriend is gluten-free, but he's been trying to eat more gluten recently. And she goes, I just think he's big. And I just looked at her and I swear to you, I envisioned myself literally physically flying across that table, that barrier, and choking the shit out of her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never felt such an innate reaction. And I was just like, don't react, because literally right behind me at the beach area was my friends who already have issues with her. And I know one of them would literally back me up so hard and want this to happen.
Yeah.
And all of these thoughts rushed into my mind about, if I do this, then this will happen. If I do this will happen. And I was like, nope. And I was like, you're right. You obviously know him really well. Thank you for that information. And I just walked the hell away. My best friend was standing next to me and she was just like, and I went and I sat on, there was like a swing and I was like, I need to calm down. I need to calm down. She sat next to me and she started crying, my best friend. I want to beat her up, Meera. I hate her. I can't believe she said that. And I was like, it's okay. So I started pacifying her.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to calm down because I was so angry that I got calm.
Yeah.
And the person who was standing next to her, his mouth just dropped. But no one's correcting the bad behavior. They're waiting for me to correct it. And I'm like, I'm not your parent. You're a piece of trash. And
Yeah,
you can say
exactly.
whatever you want, and I will not react and fall into this. Because I think what she was trying to do at the time was get my reaction so I can get into a fight with her, because she had a lot of pent up reaction or emotion about everybody. And it would have been like, look, your friends attacked me. And like, basically she was trying to keep him away from us and be away a certain way. And we're like, girl, it's been, no, none of us want him. He's our friend for a reason.
Yeah.
But that was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. So I can imagine in a relationship where she's trying to hold her man down, and I'm talking about my relationship, somebody attacked my significant other and he wasn't even there, how guttural that reaction was for me. We weren't even married. We didn't even have all these years behind us, by the way. And I've never felt that way about anyone, like talking about someone I'm dating. But it was this weird stranger, and it just triggered me. And I was like, I can understand where he came from. However, they must have had some, for me to physically react, like I had to hold myself back because I have that self-restraint. I wasn't even a full adult. I was like in my early 20s. I was in my 20s. So for him to go up to that stage and do that, there had to be more that we don't know about. And that's okay. We don't have to know everything. But let's be honest, we're humans. Someone doesn't just go up to a stranger, walk that whole long ass way and walk up on a stage, slap him, and then walk back. You meant to do that.
Yeah.
Because my guttural reaction was to jump across and choke a bitch. Yeah, but I didn't do it. But if I had the time to walk down that beach and then go choke the bitch, I would have probably thought differently, but he did it.
Yeah.
It was a natural reaction. Not saying it's okay.
Again, yes, not at all okay on Will's part. But again, what I questioned the most, I didn't even see the slap. I was already asleep and in bed by then. I heard about it the next morning. And by heard about it, I heard it all over social media. I saw it all over social media.
Isn't that where we get our news?
Yeah, it is. I don't understand where you people get yours. I was shocked. Because one, Will Smith is best friends with Jay Shetty, who is a self-proclaimed monk.
Jay Shetty just came out of nowhere in the past few years, though.
True. And two, this for me raised a lot of questions in the sense of where was your head at? Because mentally it feels like you weren't. From a girl who's been in abusive relationships, I know that mentally it means a lot of, they're not fully, not that it's all right, but they're not fully together. And I don't know how to say this in other words, except for the fact that like there's a mental disconnect and there's a huge insecurity. That to me raised a lot of questions for me in regards to Will Smith as to where was your head at, Betty?
Again, you don't know what's going on in people's lives.
No.
And she's now coming out years later and saying that they were in a separation. So we don't know what was going on during that time. But he still has that instinct to protect her and that guttural instinct. Yeah, he could have handled it differently and after and whatever, but he saw a slight on her and he reacted. End of story. That's just what it is. There's things that people do that they're not proud of. I just think I'm on the side where it should never have happened.
Yeah.
Because we're adults.
Agreed.
You're older than me.
Yeah.
But whatever, moving on. Here's my next story.
Okay.
Remember that whole Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation? How could you forget?
Yeah.
She was in Aquaman, right?
No.
Okay. So she plays Meera in Aquaman. She's the main chick or whatever. She's the princess of whatever. It doesn't matter. So there was an Aquaman 2 that was being shot at the same time. And Jason Mamoa was in it. He's Aquaman. And there was all this controversy because Jason Mamoa was separating from his wife at the time. So there's a controversy, like, is she with him? Is she not with him? Then she obviously went to the trial, and Aquaman 2 did not fire her. And it was like a big deal because Disney, who owns Marvel, they don't own the DC universe, but Disney fired Johnny Depp from I don't want to say Harry Potter movies, the Fantastic Beasts movies, which is part of the Harry Potter world. Mm-hmm. So he had 7 movies to make. He had only made the 1 or 2. I think he only made the 1. So basically, he had to give up his contract and any other thing, like no more Pirates of the Caribbean, no more anything for Disney because of this abuse allegation between him and his wife or ex-wife. Now, Amber Heard, it was like she was still being in Aquaman 2 and she was on the set. And so anyway, now everyone thinking Jason Momoa was supporting her, whatever. Apparently, it's coming out that they had a difficult working relationship in Aquaman 2 and he tried to get her fired. but he couldn't because Elon Musk stepped in. Now, let me tell you what happened. So according to Page Six, he, as in Jason Mamoa, used to come dressed as Johnny Depp, like all the rings and everything to trigger her. And he used to come to the set drunk. He obviously
Jason
was Aquaman.
Mamoa?
Jason Mamoa. We don't know nothing about him. We know he's crazy, but
Wow.
Lisa Bonet had to step away from him. So we don't know if he has an alcohol problem or whatever, or drug problem. I don't know. But apparently when they were shooting the sequel, because by the way, where we're getting this from is her therapist's raw notes. Why we have access to this, I don't know. But Variety magazine saw it. And they're saying he was drunk in the set. He tried to have her booted from the film. And he said he wanted her fired. And he would dress like that to trigger her, dress like her ex-husband to trigger her. And DC obviously is not saying anything, but basically he was not professional. And Elon Musk penned a letter to Warner Brothers, who is the production company, telling them that he will burn the house down if they fire her. He will burn the house down.
Unstable.
Apparently it worked because they ended up moving forward. Obviously, the new Aquaman 2 movie will have a lot of issues. It obviously isn't out yet because we need to separate ourselves from this trial and everything that happened. And during this trial, if you remember, people were like standing outside the courthouse supporting Johnny Depp. And every time her car would roll by, they would like sling allegations at her, throw things at the car. Listen, I firmly believe they both abused each other. I honestly think so. I think both of them were in the wrong. Maybe, I guess people took a side. And it was not her side. And I don't think it was right for her to be victimized all over again. I never appreciated that. Even if you supported Johnny Depp, that doesn't mean you have to treat her like crap because she still has a story. He was not innocent in any of this either.
No.
He did end up winning the lawsuit. And obviously he came out smelling like freaking roses. He did not get back his Disney contract that I know of. Maybe that's coming up. Maybe they just need the separation time. He's obviously a phenomenal actor. She's not a phenomenal actress. I'm going to say that in my opinion. Yeah. But she is playing Meera, which is my name. I didn't love her in it. I would not have been hurt if they replaced her with someone else. Again, she's not the best of actress. No. But you don't go to watch Aquaman for Meera. You go to watch Aquaman for Jason Mamoa. Anyway, that's a new piece of news that came out. But I just think that because they hated each other, there was no chemistry and it was difficult on the set. If that's playing out on screen, it might be a difficult sequel to watch. If they would have gotten somebody else, could it have been easier? Probably, but this is where the chips fell and this is what it is. And I mean, they have so much money. I would be like, just get somebody else and pay her out and just replace it. Like, you know what I mean? It's too late now. So we'll see when it comes out. But that's the news that's happening today. Or that's what people are talking about. What do you think about that? What do you think about Elon Musk getting involved? Because they used to date.
Yeah. And in my mind, it feels like a child flexing his muscles so that he gets what he wants.
Who? Elon?
Yeah.
Please. Like, you think Jason Momoa showing up drunk to his set and trying to antagonize her is not childish? It looks like a freaking child.
Flexing his muscles, trying to get what he wants. They're both in the wrong completely. But come on, Elon Musk sending an email or calling head of Warner Brothers and being like, I'm going to burn your house down. What are you?
He penned a letter. So there's an actual physical letter. Maybe were they dating after Johnny Depp? I think it was after Johnny Depp, right? Or before? It
was during the trial. I know that.
Okay. So yeah. So he was dating her at the time.
Yeah.
All right. So flex your influence, bro. He was protecting his woman. All right. Anyway, so can we talk about Kanye real quick?
Yeah.
You know how Kanye is married to Bianca Censori officially? They found the official marriage thing. He got married a month after he was divorced from Kim Kardashian. Apparently it was for religious reasons that they kept it very intimate, but they were together all the time. Apparently in her contract with him, this is alleged. She's not allowed to, she has to wear certain things that he tells her to wear. She's not allowed to talk. There's all these stipulations. People are like, it's an abusive relationship, but she's in it. They got married in Beverly Hills. It was a real marriage. I don't know. I think it's so weird. It was a confidential marriage license, by the way, which I don't know what that means, but apparently it's confidential. It just took them months to find it. But yeah, she's not even 30 years old, guys.
Wow.
She's not even 30 years old.
How old?
I think like 44 or 45.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just know that there's all this. They seem very affectionate to each other. They're obviously doing things that they're not supposed to be doing up in Italy and stuff. They're traveling, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a cry for help. His girlfriend that he dated for a month, Julia Fox, who got famous off of him, wrote a book. It came out, and
Yeah.
in the book, she talks a lot about Kanye because that's her whole relevance, right? She's trying to make her money. And she was saying that he offered her plastic surgery while they were like eating. He's all about a look and changing people.
He really
So
is.
Bianca Sensori is clearly wanting to be changed. He definitely tried to be all weird with Kim Kardashian too, but she was still her. That lasted longer than I thought it was, to be honest. And I really wish that they would have lasted and that he really loved her and he wasn't crazy.
Mhm.
I feel like I would have been okay with that. But people put out what they want you to see.
Yep.
So, ew, he was with Joel Osteen. Oh, come on. Oh, didn't he start a church? Is the church still
Yeah.
around?
I
Is
thought
it
I was
still
gonna
around?
say I don't think so, but
What do you think? I know he's mentally unstable, but what do you think is going on with him? Not that we're professionals, but
I think that'll all come out soon in regards to what's going on with him. I think
I mean, he
it
takes his
also makes me
kids.
a little sad.
What
I'm
do you
not a
mean?
huge Kanye fan, by the way, like at all, but it does make me a little sad thinking that he's not taking care of himself and his mental health.
There's people who have mental health issues that when they take the pills or when they feel that they're okay, they feel like it's okay because the pills stifle your creativity and stifle your thinking,
Yeah, they do.
calm you down. So it's almost like if you take a Benadryl
Yep.
and you feel like you're like
Drowsy.
lackluster and yeah,
Yep.
that's what a lot of these pills do for some people. And it's better for them to feel. And
Yep.
he has the means and the influence to just do whatever the hell he wants. And
Yep.
people won't say anything. Unlike Britney Spears, who basically, did you see the other day she danced with her like lingerie? She did like a sexy dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, but people look at it
Again,
differently than when they look at him doing stuff.
though, I think that's another cry out for help. I think she's not just because her conservatorship has ended and just she I think there's still a mental capacity that needs to be caught up
100%.
maybe. Yeah.
But when you say cry for help, she's not saying come check on me or help me, right?
No.
She's just
She's not saying it
expressing,
out loud.
but people did. Like when she did the knife dance, people
Oh,
sent the cops to do a welfare check. People are calling to do welfare checks on her all the time. And I agree
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Well, ain't nobody calling to do a welfare check on Kanye and his crazy ass.
That's because Britney's
I think it's
beloved.
different. I think a different mental illness, though. There's
Yes.
differences in your capability. I think hers, listen, I'm not even going to speculate because I don't want to say anything because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just, her and her ex-husband, man, still trying to make a name for himself off of her name. You should have just stayed with her, bruh, if you really wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Um, ugh, oof, I get grossed out by him. So that's it for us today with Woke and Pretty. We were very calm today. Min has a very bad throat, but
Yeah.
we gave you some gossip. So Amber, Will, Jason, all of y'all, we hear you. We see you. We're waiting for the rest of it. So
Yeah.
join us tomorrow for another episode of Woke and Pretty. And obviously follow us on social, Woke Pretty Podcast. And if you want to see this, you can watch it on Spotify, but also on YouTube, guys. We're here. We're there. And share it with someone you love because they might love it too. Until next time, see ya. Bye.
Bye.
Remember, you're the heartbeat of our podcast. Your support, your comments, and your enthusiasm keeps us fired up and ready to bring you more pop culture goodness each week. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment of action.
Connect with us on social media at Woke and Pretty Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
We're always thrilled to chat with fellow pop culture enthusiasts.
Until next time, keep riding those pop culture waves.
Stay in the know with current events, and most importantly, keep embracing your woke and pretty self. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. So, until we meet again, keep spreading the woke and pretty vibes.